And for depression, they're around the 85% mark. And
Fabulous.
this is a study that was done by a South African university, independent of everything that they're doing. And they applied all the exact same statistics and modules that they would to any other secular organization that helps with PTSD. And that's the rate that they've come up with. The secular rate of healing of PTSD, specifically depression and anxiety, based on all of the current practices we have, is less than 3% for healing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's
I was
when I heard that number. That's incredible.
Wow. So how are you doing with it?
I've been doing amazing myself. I had a lot of disbelief cast upon me, so I've been an atheist for 44 years. As a detective, I relied on everything I could see, feel, hear, and touch. So this has been a huge change of faith for me. And it was alarming for the medical community out here in Oshawa, Ontario, where I work. They disbelieved me and the fact that I was healed.
Really?
And, in fact, incarcerated me in the psychiatric unit for 21 days over Christmas last year.
I can believe that.
Well, no one's ever really healed from post-traumatic stress, but we can learn to handle coping skills and recognize triggers. So unfortunately, triggers can...
I totally 100% disagree with you on that. You can be healed from post-traumatic stress disorder. I was healed from it. I continue to be healed from it. I have no negative emotions attached to any of the 105 traumatic events in my traumatic timeline.
You know what?
Telling people that they can't be healed is wrong.
Well, you can, but sometimes triggers can remind you, is what I'm trying to say.
100%, but once you recognize why those triggers are happening, you can get rid of them. So my post-traumatic stress disorder is rooted in me being raped when I was 10 years old and also being part of an alcoholic family. So if I can't recognize and realize where everything comes from, I'm going to continue to have these triggers.
Yep.
Okay, so our definition of healed is a little bit different. That's what I mean. But
my definition of healed is having absolutely no negative emotions or thoughts
there you
whatsoever
go. Okay.
attached to my rape. So right now, if I actually saw that person who did rape me when I was 10 years old, I am now in a position where I would hug them and I would say, I'm so sorry for what you went through, and I forgive you for everything that you did to me, and I love you.
Forgiveness is key for a lot of it, especially with that kind of trauma.
Yeah, and for me to be in a position, I'm 45, so 35 years later, I've lived with this pain, torment, anguish, anger, hatred, and now I don't. And
I've actually seen people recover from childhood trauma, definitely.
Well, if I may, just for 1 second, that's the most incredible story I think I've ever heard. Mm-hmm. With your work background and what you've been exposed to in your personal life, and to be able to get to some kind of place where you can give that kind of forgiveness, I recognize that. That's staggering. Mm-hmm. So if you could just do me a favor and say the name of that place in Georgia one more time, because whatever they're doing there, everybody needs to know about it, because that's an incredible story.
100%, brother. I actually just put it on my J Story Facebook. They have a 4-part series directly on PTSD. It's a conference that they do, and they talk about the generational issues and your own issues as to why you have anxiety and why you have depression, and then they talk about how to get rid of them.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me,
incredible.
Did you just say J's?
J''S.
I know you. I follow you on Facebook.
Me too. When he comes in as Jason, it took me a second, and then he said who he was.
I went, that's incredible. Well, listen, just right out of the gate, tip of the hat to every post you put out there. I absolutely love the stuff you put out there. I'm a huge
Agreed.
fan. I really am.
What's the name of that place, Jason?
Story.
One more time.
It's called Be in Health. So BEINHEALTH.
Okay.
And a little bit of a background. So the pastor, Dr. Henry Wright, who runs this place, used to be a medical doctor, and he realized that he was just giving prescriptions and he was giving Band-Aids, and he wasn't fixing anybody. And he grew up in a religious family where his dad was a pastor, but he wasn't really nice. He was very mean in some of the things that he did, so he got away from it. He was like, this isn't really what I thought this is all about. And then he started to do some research into the generational reasons as to why we have illnesses. and discovered that it gets passed on. Like, we know that heart disease gets passed on from generation to generation, and cancer, and of course mental illnesses. My grandfather unfortunately committed suicide in front of my mother and his and my aunt when they were kids. There are reasons why we are the way that we are, and it may not be because of something that we've done. It could be something that our mother or father or grandparents have done that just has a reciprocal and a continuous ripple effect. Like, my mother was an alcoholic as a result of the trauma that she went through and never dealt with, because nobody said to her, "Hey, you got to deal with this."
Right.
It was just drink your face off and don't worry
about
about
all this stuff now.
Well, they even say in the song "The Living Years," every generation blames one before, but that's true. A lot of our problems are from
by the Cranberries.
But a lot of problems stem from early childhood, and then they carry with us into adulthood. And how we
it has to do with how the brain is so influenced at a young age. I mean, I think that's why child abuse is so heinous.
Right.
You know, it's not that you're hurting somebody who's smaller than you. It's that you're actually affecting that individual's brain for the course of their life. If they have people around them that care for them and get them the help that they need, and you have a psychologist there and you can help, that's great. But if the individual doesn't have access to that knowledge, they just keep repeating the same trauma over and over and over again. It actually, because most people, I mean, when you think about it, we have the same thoughts we had yesterday and the day before, right? You know, we're living our life on repeat. So if you have something happen at a very young age like that, well, what do you think is going to happen? Right? So it's absolutely correct, right?
And then you develop negative coping skills or avoidance or anxiety and things that don't get addressed, and they carry with us. Jason, thank you so much for calling in. And I'll be in touch. I will be in touch, buddy. For real.
Hey, no worries. I have all the time in the world when you do.
and have a nice day, and thank you so much and for all you do and for calling in and sharing. That's great.
Can I just add one last thing that's very important? So as a result of my incarceration in the hospital here in Oshawa, I began to tell my story to people that matter. I've met with the mayor of Oshawa on 2 occasions. The last time was a couple of days ago. And him and I together are going to begin to approach the people that matter, including the president and CEO of the Durham District Hospital Association, the president and CEO of the Oshawa Hospital directly, the MPPs from Oshawa as well as Whitby, and we're going to get them all at the table. And the mayor wants me to tell my story to them directly so that they can really understand what's happening. And I know, and this is the important part, I know that I'm not alone. I know that there are other people out there that have reached out specifically to the Lakeridge Health System in Oshawa and have not received the help they wanted, and in fact have come out in a worse state than they were when they went in there. I'm doing this to bring a proper change for the proper reasons. I don't want any monetary gain from this. I don't want any reward. In fact, if they come back, whoever they are, and say, we're going to give you $100 million to shut you up, I'm going to tell them, take that $100 million, put it back into the system, and start to heal people. I know
that's not going to happen, so don't worry about it.
We'll see what happens.
We'll talk more, Jason. I do want you as a guest and to tell your whole story, and we'll do that another time. But seriously, to be able to tell in detail everything. And I will give you that platform. We'll talk soon, okay?
Cheers.
All right, thanks for calling in, and thanks for all you do. Bye.
Thank you very much.
So, Carl, wow. You see how prominent and how common post-traumatic stress is.
Well, you see, I think once the individuals, that's an incredible story that we were just hearing, but you really get an understanding of the monumental task to make that big wheel turn as far as the organization's concerned, right? It takes time, like they were saying, you got to get people at the table, you got to have meetings, and all this time.
People have to consider it's real too, and a lot of people don't know that.
Well, yeah. So
can you discuss how you got yourself back to work?
Well, yeah, this I started to realize that, okay, at some point, you kind of have to recognize what's happened, okay, and that's fine. You do that, and that's great, right? But the fact is that we kind of have to take it on yourself, too, right? So this is what I started to do. I started realizing that, okay, maybe, training isn't giving me the help with this mental health, or, maybe the government's not giving me enough. But, on this one here, it's kind of about my life. I'm going to have to go out there and find it, right? So that's what I did. I started researching stuff. And hey, listen, I'm not saying that everything I researched was right. Like, that's not going to happen. You're going to find out stuff. But even when you read about stuff that you know is wrong, you learn stuff, and that kind of points you in a different direction. And I remember, finding out about your show, and then you find out about another podcast, and you educate yourself. And the incredible thing about the mind is once you start teaching it, well, it does start to learn. But I think depression, anxiety, PTSD, it stops people from having the enthusiasm to even look.
Mm-hmm.
We just grind it out, basically. We just go to work, and we just do it, and we just do it, and we just do it. And the problem is the quality of our life drastically goes down, and before we know it, a couple of decades have gone by. And I just, quite frankly, I know that everybody out there can live with PTSD. Like, I get it. But I guess what I'm saying is, with the amount of data and the amount of information out there, you simply don't have to. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I think when people start to understand that, whoa, wait a minute, I could actually get 8 hours of sleep at night? Seriously? And hold on, wait a sec. I can sit in a restaurant and not have to scan the room all the time? You're kidding me. If people realize that kind of help is out there, I don't think they'd wait for their fire departments and police departments to bring it to them. Mm-hmm. These people are problem solvers. Anybody in the emergency services, fire dispatch, or fire dispatch ambulance, police, or correctionals, a Coast Guard, nursing, military, all these people, they're problem solvers.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is what they do, right? So to think that these people wouldn't want to solve this problem if you gave them the information, well, that's crazy. That's
absolutely
all they do is learn how to
right.
fix problems. Right? So I really, even though I think it's fantastic, we just heard about how legislation is going to change and the legal aspect. Look, I know what it's like to hang on the bottom rung, okay? And I can't wait 8 months for some paper to pass through Congress. Like, I just can't. Right? I've got a family to look after. So if somebody could kind of point me in the right direction of what is going on with my life, I'll do it. You know what I mean? I'll do it, whatever that takes. I don't really care. So, I think once you start to understand how our work environment does affect the brain, then, we can start fixing it. And I think what's even more interesting is that, there's a lot of people out there that say, okay, well, look, if this stuff is so dangerous in the emergency services, why doesn't everybody suffer from it? Like, seriously, if this affects our brain the way it does, why is it not catching everybody out? Well, I think what's really interesting is you start to learn about these things called coping mechanisms.
I want to get to that in a second. Exactly. Self-care and coping skills. We have our second break, and we're going to be back with Moments of Clarity in just a moment, but stay tuned because I want to get to that. Absolutely. We'll be right back.
We will return to Moments of Clarity with Tiffany Warner after these messages.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Hi, this is Tiffany Warner, your host of Moments of Clarity. Living with a mental health disorder is not easy. If you or someone you know are struggling with this, please know it's so important to seek treatment, and I'm here to help. Please visit the website at momentsofclaritywithtiffany.com to view blog posts and resources on this site to help educate and inspire you to take action, because there's no shame in seeking help for mental health. While you're there, please take a few seconds to sign up for my email list. You'll get some extremely valuable educational and entertaining content that can be sent right to your inbox each week. Plus, you'll also get instant and free access to my guide on managing your anxiety. You can also follow me on Twitter at MOC with Tiffany and at Facebook at Tiffany Warner. And once again, the website is momentsofclaritywithtiffany.com. Thank you so much for your support and for listening to your show, because change can only come when we stand together as one. Hi, this is Tiffany Warner, your host of Moments of Clarity. I'd like to give a shout out to musician-songwriter Don Lawson, who wrote, produced, and performed all the vocals and instruments on my Moments of Clarity theme song. Don gained his inspiration as a mental health counselor himself. He's always looking for artists to record his songs, and you can hear more of Don's music at reverbnation.com/Don Lawson. You can also check him out on Twitter at Don Lawson Music. Thank you so much, Don, for your contribution to Moments of Clarity and ending the stigma on mental health. It's awesome.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Now back to Moments of Clarity with Tiffany Warner, licensed mental health counselor. To engage in the conversation, call 866-826-1340. Here's Tiffany.
Hi, welcome back. And if you're just tuning in, this is Moments of Clarity. I am Tiffany Warner. I'm a licensed mental health counselor, and I'm your host. And today we're discussing post-traumatic stress disorder, and especially with first responders. And the effects it has on the brain and coping mechanisms. And with me is the founder and host of PTSD Bunker Gear for Your Brain. And